Okay, Assalamualaikum and a very good afternoon, everyone. How are you?
Waalaikumsalam.
Okay, I would like to welcome everyone to this ATESLA Webchat. ATESLA stands for Affiliation of Alumni, TESL Alumni, right? And then for your information, most of the panelists here, we have known each other past like how many years? 30 years? 20
Close to this.
since we were 18 years old, yeah? All right. Okay. Now, our topic for today is the title is Panicgogy during COVID-19. All right. As we all know, right now that we are all, experiencing lockdown because of the virus. All right. Some people call it, it's not a virus, an illness. I don't know. Right. But the thing is, we are all in the lockdown here. And then, so the title of the chat this afternoon is Panicgogy during COVID-19, teaching and learning in crisis. Right. First of all, I think I would like to introduce our key panelists. First of all, we have Professor Dr. Faiza Abdul Majid of UITM Shah Alam. How are you, Prof?
Alhamdulillah. Thank you, Dr.
Formerly
Haji.
known as Prof. Ija. Okay. And then Associate Professor Dr. Ismi, who is still not here. Ada bunyi ayam.
And we have an audience.
Okay, Prof. Ismi is still not here. Hopefully he will join us soon. And then Dr. Muhammad Fauzi Kamaruddin. Dr. Fauzi.
Hi everyone.
All right, Dr. Fauzi is from UCAM, Malacca. Okay. All right. And then Dr. Maslawati. If you look at the screen, Dr. Maslawati is using the nickname user. Actually, that is Dr. Maslawati behind the camera. And Dr. Maslawati is from UKM. And I think she also brought with her two of her students. Two or one? Dr. Masla? Two students?
I think there are two.
Two students. Okay, from Thailand and
I could see that there are two, yes.
from Thailand and China. And then we also have Dr. Ainul Azmin Muhammad Zamin of UIA, International Islamic University.
Hi everyone. Assalamualaikum.
Okay, yeah. Salam. And Muhammad Fadli Yahya.
Assalamualaikum.
Salam
Salam.
of UIT Emperorless. Okay, how are you, Dr. Jack?
Okay, fine, great.
You can call him Dr. Jack. Right, and then Mr.
Hold
Zanri
him.
Mustafa. Mr. Zanri. Mr. Zanri is an experienced he as a teacher in Penang. Okay, how are you, Jai? Jai, can you hear us?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Dr. Asri is supposed to be here. Hopefully he will join us soon. And then if you look at the poster, finally is that young man down there. Okay, I'm Azmi. I'm of UTHM Malaysia. And I have my colleague with me, Zainal Abidin Sayadi. All right. An expert in technology for teaching and learning. Glad to have you here, Mr. Zainal. Zainal, can you hear me? Mr. Zainal? Dia dengar tak?
Hello.
Hello, yeah. Okay. Welcome, Mr. Zainal. Okay. Before we proceed, right, I would like to make...
Dr. Azmi,
Yeah.
we also have my supervisees from IPGs.
Okay.
There are students from IPGs, lecturers from IPG,
Okay.
as well as one from Indonesia.
Okay.
So
Welcome.
we have like 4 countries here.
Welcome on board.
Okay, good. Alhamdulillah.
This is really like an international discussion, yeah? Okay. Before we proceed, I would like to make a disclaimer here, right? That any opinion or expressed by the panelists during this web chat are merely of, our own and represent the opinions of our institutions, right? Okay. I think this is very important. Now, uh, for a start, right? I think the beginning of the lockdown, right? We saw people were doing panic buying, right? At shopping complexes, shops, and so on. People were rushing to shops to buy goods, groceries, right? And then after a few days, when the government announced the moratorium, all right, uh, people were mentioned about panic saving, where the money that has been where we don't have to pay our loans and so on. Instead of spending it, we should be saving the money uh, because of the people say because of the incoming recession, right? And then suddenly there's this term of panigogy. Okay, all right. For this panigogy, I think I would like to call upon Mr. Zainal. Zainal, can you please talk about what is this panigogy? What is this thing of what is the definition of this thing? Mr. Zainal, can you please uh, explain on this? Seems that he has problem with Mr. Zainal.
Sorry.
Okay, Zainal.
Okay. Nadalmi, sorry for the interruption. I think I'm having some panic situation right now. Can you hear me? The internet connection is rather unstable this afternoon. Right. What was the question? Just I actually cannot hear you.
Okay, Zainal.
Yeah.
Can you talk about panigogy? What is this panigogy?
Okay. Panicgogy. Okay, this is an interesting term.
Okay.
Okay. Right. I can't remember who coined this term. That's one. I think Muller. Was that correct? Dr. Faiza.
Yes.
Okay. And yes, Dr. Muller and friends, right? Okay. And okay, because of this COVID-19. Okay. And in which all over the world, actually around the world, all schools, institutions are being closed, okay, so no classes and everything. Okay, and definitely this COVID-19 creates a very chaotic situation. Okay, and how teachers especially responded. Okay, there has been so many webinars. Okay, I have never seen so many activities, so many webinars, training, online training on how to do things, especially online learning. Okay, and we are being bombarded. Okay, as educators, teachers are being bombarded with so many tools. Okay, so many webinars on how to do things. Okay, and then we start to learn a lot of things. Okay, we start to learn a lot of things, and then uh, okay, we have because we are close in okay, but one objective I think, okay, all academicians, all teachers around the world, okay, they start to relearn something new, lessons and assessment and everything. Okay, so this some sort of creating some panic situation. Okay, I think that is how the term came in. Okay, panic goji. Okay, in which in this situation how we cope, okay, with some problems, okay, limitations, internet connection, like this, right now, okay, teachers, students, and so on. All right, and students are also having some problem adapting to distance learning, to online learning, fully online learning, and etc. Okay, I think I lost contact then.
Okay. Prof. Aiza. Prof. Aiza.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Can we have like further clarifications on this term Panicgogy?
All right. Thank you, Dr. Azmi. I thought you would never ask. Hello, everyone. Faiza from UITM here.
Okay.
I can see my friends smiling. These are friends of mine since we were 18 years old. So anyway, thank you. Back to Dr. Azmi. And thank you, Mr. Zainal, for your thoughts on Panicgogy. And frankly speaking, I like us to go to the root word of Panicgogy. The root word is panic and goji. Goji comes from the term pedagogy, andragogy, or rather, goji is the art of teaching. And then panic, something which creates where there's anxiety, where there is a lot of emotional turbulence in handling a situation. So when we put the two words together, panic and goji, it's that emotional turbulence, it's that anxiety, it's frustration, it could sometimes be anger, it could be a lot of depression, mental, negative attributes to emotion. Panic comes with that, cognition. And Goji is the art of teaching. So as we respond to communication across the globe, there's a lockdown. And when there is this lockdown, the teaching and learning needs to continue. So how do we as teachers, as academic, in continuing with our pedagogy or andragogy or cybergogy or paragogy, that's why the anxiety comes in. And Dr. Azmi, I like that prior to 2020, when we were in the 2018 and 2019, Malaysia as well as other countries were excited about the term cybergogy,
Okay.
paragogy. So if I could relate pedagogy to this pedagogy, I like us to remember we were already exposed to cybergogy, use of the internet, learning, already informed about the available platforms, educational tools that we have. And then when we talk about pedagogy, comes the word us. How is it we empower our students so that they can teach and learn from each other? Pedagogy. However, is panicking because at the moment is tend to forget that we already have pedagogy exposure, that we are all out of internet thing. I think that is why pedagogy comes along. We tend to forget background of teaching. So back to you, Dr. Azmi. That's my concern, what I think on.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Zainal and Prof. Aiza. Okay, I think I shall move on to the slide. I would like, we have Mr. Zainuddin Jai, who is a school teacher. Jai, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Okay,
I
Jai.
can hear you.
All right. Now, just like all the learning institutions, schools and universities. So, how is your experience conducting online learning or distance learning with the students, with your school students? Can you share your experience?
It was breaking. I mean, the line was not that clear, but let me rephrase the question first.
Okay.
Your question is experience with online learning or virtual learning.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bago lah Webex.
All right.
Webex.
break up.
Experience, I mean, is
Dia pun
related
macam
very
itu.
closely to what Prof. Faiza has just mentioned.
Mhm.
Among the keywords would be emotional turbulence and then anxieties in teaching.
Okay.
Because it is a fact. Some teachers, they are ICT savvy, some are not. In fact, many are not. As for me, I would claim that I'm illiterate. I'm not an IT savvy person.
Okay.
So it gives me some kind of anxiety. However, of course, I do try my best to implement. And in fact, I don't think so. I should be talking about myself here because I would say many teachers, they're trying their best to implement, but of course, there are some hiccups, some obstacles along the way.
What are some of the challenges?
So I'm really supported by the Ministry of Education,
Okay.
even JPN and PPD.
Mm.
Give or offer as much help as possible to teachers to make sure the implementation of online learning is fruitful.
Okay.
No doubt, there are still, as I said, issues which have to be addressed.
Ni tengok ni je. Ni seminar biasa je. Bapa nak masuk mandi.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah,
Yeah, Jai. Jai.
yeah.
Okay. So far, what are the challenges that you face when conducting lessons with your students?
Again, what are the?
Challenges.
Oh, okay, the challenges. First of all, I would say students' commitment. Students' commitment in doing whatever online class given to them, first of all.
Mm.
Number two is like the attendance.
Okay.
Attendance is not 100%. Because of certain circumstances, for example, of course, not all students do have internet access at home.
Mm.
Um, and just like what we are experiencing right now, there are also technical issues because of the poor connection. And yeah,
Okay.
and then that is one. Secondly, I would say in terms of the challenges, would also be teachers' readiness. As we can all of us can see that this online learning, online teaching is like a new wave, a new sudden wave for all. So is teachers' readiness in terms of ICT knowledge and skills, I would say. Not in terms of the materials. There are many materials, there are enough materials, I would say, for the main subject, for the core subject.
Okay.
However, for elective subjects like engineering drawing, Japanese language, and a few other elective subjects, perhaps teachers may not have many resources for online learning.
Okay.
I mean, not like core or main subjects like English, history, science, math, and so on. The materials that there are.
Sorry, Jai. I'll interrupt you for a while. For those who are not speaking, can you please mute your microphone because we can hear a lot of background noise.
Yeah.
Okay. If you're speaking, can you please mute your microphone, yeah? All right. Because a lot of noise, so we can hear our speaker speaking very clearly.
Okay.
Okay, Jai, you may continue.
I was talking about the challenges. Right, just now, I've mentioned about teachers' readiness. I've mentioned about students' commitment, and one more thing would be my concern would be like what Prof. said just now, bombardment of materials. Um, it depends on the principal and his or her administrators to monitor, to supervise the kinds of online classes that are taking place. Some are doing it well, but of course, different schools, different cases.
Okay.
And then the issue here or the midpoint would be the monitoring. We don't want teachers simply to just give materials for students for their online learning
Okay.
without much supervision.
Okay.
Because in the end, we just don't want students to be burned out because too many things given at the same time.
Okay.
All right, I think at the moment that would be my response.
I would like to hear from Prang from Thailand. Uh, Prang Chumi.
Uh,
Yeah, Prang Chumi.
okay.
All right.
Questions again, please. The questions again.
Prang Chumi, you are teaching in a school, right? You're teaching at school.
Yeah, before now.
Okay.
Yes.
Can you please share with us the experience of teaching during this lockdown time in Thailand? How's the experience?
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Now in Thailand, we have two ways of teaching. The first one, we're gonna use the LTV. It is like distance learning on television. Distance learning on television. So every student just only open the television and then we will have the channel for education, so the student can learn by watching that TV. But I think the very important thing that we have to add on,
Okay.
yeah, we have the television. Is it of the King Rama 9, the channel of King Rama 9. So this is the educational channel. But I think the teacher have to prepare the worksheet or any exercise to give them like a homework. Because if they just watching the television without homework, without exercise, without not anything, maybe they will ignore. So the teacher have to monitor, have to check by giving student an exercise. I think that this is
So
the way
you
in
have
Thailand that we're trying to do now.
so you have educational television in Thailand, yeah?
Yes, DL, we call it Klai Kang Won. Klai Kang Won. This is the name of this channel.
Okay. So meaning that while watching the television, the students will yeah, engage in certain kind of activities, teaching and learning activities. Are they?
Yeah, actually this channel will use in a small size school. Regular use in small size school. In some school that have not enough teacher, we will use this channel. So the prime minister command us to use this channel for students while we are we are at home, like in this situation too.
Okay.
But
Okay.
there will not enough activity like teaching and learning. There will not have enough interaction. This is the problem that I am concerning about interaction.
Okay. So the challenges is one of them is to make the learning interactive.
Yes, this is the problem that we get.
Do you have other issues like bandwidth, unstable internet access?
Yeah, for online learning like internet access or any mobile devices, they use it regularly. But in case that some part of Thailand don't have internet Wi-Fi, don't have any devices, so we trying to solve this problem. If we have internet, this is easy to learn in this situation. But if we don't have internet, this is the thing that we're trying to solve the problem by using this channel, by using other method like preparing like a worksheet and give it to students 1 month at a time, 2 months at a time to let them do it.
Okay.
Yes, is that?
Thanks a lot, Prang Chumi. Thanks a lot for sharing the Thailand experience.
Okay, with my pleasure.
Okay. Okay. I think we shall. I'll proceed to the The next one, which is we are very interested to hear about how uh, this Panicgogy is being conducted for teacher trainees. So we have teacher trainees expert. We have teacher trainers experts in this room. Dr. Maslawati, we'd like to hear from you. How's the experience? Can you please unmute your mic? Dr. Maslawati?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hello?
Yes.
Okay, Assalamualaikum and a very good afternoon. Thank you, Dr. Azmi, and also my colleagues as well as my students. So basically, when we talk about educating the educators, we are looking at a few categories here. We are looking at the preschool, primary, secondary, as well as the tertiary institution. And we also need to look at other stakeholders, for example, the parents, the students or the pupils themselves, and also the educators. Okay, we also need to look at their experience, their readiness, the platform that we are going to impart to the students. We also need to look at the parents, okay, what kind of platform that they are familiar with. Because as educators, we could impart knowledge, but we need to have a medium or what we call as the platform. For example, when we look at the students in the remote areas, they might not be able to use Webex.
不是 COD 的，应该
Zoom.
讲。
Excuse
Okay,
me.
but
It's
we
mute
can also
your-
introduce like chat,
Yeah.
Telegram, which I think is more feasible in comparison to other tools. Okay, and then when we talk about teachers' readiness, and we also need to look at how familiar the teacher is with Webex. Okay, for example, like Zoom. And I believe as the school authority or the institution authority, what we need to do is we need to provide awareness, because without awareness, the teacher will think that it is not important for them to conduct lessons. Maybe some teachers will believe that, okay, I could only upload, but we do not have any kind of monitoring, any kind of evaluation towards, because monitoring evaluation is also important to make sure that what we try to deliver is being grasped by the students. And also a two-way communication is very important. The way I look at it is not a two-way, it's a three-way communication, meaning the teacher, the pupils as well as the parents. For example, when we are dealing with students, okay, we try to give students some worksheets. So the parents need to know that these are the tasks that we teachers are giving. Okay, so the parents could be prepared with the printer and print out the materials. But we also need to be aware that, for example, like Malaysia, okay, is very, very like panic because people are not, this is an unprecedented event. People are not prepared for it. So basically, some parents would say, where should I print the sheet? I don't have a printer. So these are the things that we need to educate the parents as well. And when we talk about, for example, TV pendidikan, I would say education channel, okay? Again, not many parents are aware of the education channel. Not many parents are aware about the Astro. So these are the things that we need to educate the teachers, okay? And the teachers will be the mediator to impart the knowledge to the students or to the parents. So the cascading must be there, because rather than a teacher directly to the pupils, teacher must also help the parents to be aware. And of course, when we talk about teachers, sometimes they do not want to carry out this pedagogy, I would say Panicgogy, because they do not know what to do. Okay, so again, the school authority needs to play a very important part here. Okay, monitoring. Maybe there are principals in this particular room. Okay, workshops need to be carried out. Okay, and workshops meaning that a small group of people which meet together and discuss, and at the same time we have a teacher who's the trainer. And I think it's very important, because if not, the teacher will be switched off. I do not know how to use it. I don't think I want to use it. Okay, and then the importance of the authority.
Maslawati.
Whether we like it or not, okay, we talk about the authority need to make sure that the teachers or the educators need to use it so that education will be effective, because it will last about 6 weeks, or it may be more than that. So we do not know when will it stop, and it might recur in the future with another virus. We do not know. So even though this is an unprecedented event, but we are preparing ourselves for now and maybe for the future. So I think that's all, Azmi. And another thing is that we also need to be clear among the teachers in the school. Because, for example, I'm talking about my teachers. They mentioned that, okay, one teacher, there are 7 subjects, for example. So all teachers want to have like online lesson within 8 in the morning to 12 in the morning. So, and then one school, for example, one parent, they might have like 3 children going to the same school.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
they don't have enough gadgets there.
Yeah.
So these are the things that there should be a kind of synchronization in terms of timetable, so that everybody will find it effective.
I
Okay.
think
Then thank you.
there are cases where
Yes.
parents who are jostling for the gadgets. I have that
Yes, very
experience at
true.
home. My wife is
Yes.
her laptop is she wants to use the laptop, but then at the same time my daughter wants to use for her lesson. So
Yes.
imagine if there are three
Eh,
more than one children at home, fighting for the same
Yes.
gadget. Yeah, but I
Yes.
Dr. Azmi, if I may add,
yeah, Fauzi.
I
okay,
think Dr. Fauzi
one,
want to say something.
yes, if I may add, I think when you talk about school, I think it's very important for the teachers to be to first of all, I think it's very important for the teachers to understand the situation and context of the students, the parents as well. As some of the speakers have mentioned before, we need to know whether it will be useful if the teachers know whether which of the students have printers, for example, which have good access to the internet, because by the end of the day, this helps. Now, the reason I'm saying this is because even if it's not in terms of online learning, I remember when my youngest son Faiz, he was in standard 6. I remember one day, not one day, a few times he came back from school. No, kids, they have a religious school until 6, and then usually at 8:30 after dinner, we'll ask them to look at their homework, and that would be the time. Faiz will usually come and say, Father, I need to. The teacher has asked me to print this, and I say, at this time, 8:30 p.m. Where do you expect me to print this? And I was a bit, angry because, I was thinking, and I asked him, what do you want to print? And he said, a picture of an animal. That is just a simple
Just
thing
that.
to do.
Just that.
Yeah, yeah. But by the end of the day, printing the picture of animal warrants me to go out, drive my car, find a CC whereby would allow us to print, open the computer, this and that, doing all that, paste it to his exercise book, and along the way, I would ask myself, what is the value of all this? If there are 40 students and every parents would go out and do the same thing, or at least half of them. So what I'm trying to say is, by the end of the day, it's very important for educators to think of the context and also the situation of each of their students, especially now in terms of online learning. What are the kind of material that you have? How long would it be? What is the level of it? Would it take much time? Would it take lots of time for it to upload and download? you know uh, and the level of complexity, because by the end of the day, if educators could understand the whole context, it would really help a lot. Thank you.
I think Koji, talking about having to print your materials at this moment. I mean, yeah, it's difficult. Not everyone owns a printer at home, and then I have my friends complaining that he's for 2 times his printer is running out of ink, then you cannot go to the shop to buy additional ink, additional cartridge. So I think perhaps in the future, if you want to our students to you know we should do away with excuse me, can you please mute your microphone for those who are not speaking? All right, thank you. Okay, I think we should do away with asking students to print the material. Instead, we should, in future, should give the printed materials earlier, right? Or not asking the students to print now at this during this period of time. That's my opinion.
Azmi,
Yeah,
Dr. Azmi.
yeah. Asli, eh? Yes, that I see.
Yeah, okay. Um, yeah, sorry, I joined a bit later just now. Couldn't, having some technical problem to get into the group. But
Asli,
anyway,
Asli, yeah, Asli,
I think that,
excuse me, Asli.
yeah,
For those who are
yeah.
not speaking, can you please mute your microphone? Those who are not speaking, because I'm having problem muting your microphone, and then you unmute. So I think the situation for those who are not speaking, please mute your microphone.
Ya, diberi manfaat Januari, Februari, March. Itu baru faham.
Okay, excuse me. Can you please mute your microphone for those who are not speaking? If you're not speaking for the floor, if you're speaking cakap dengan family members, please mute your microphone. Okay, thank you. Okay, Asri, you may continue.
Yeah, thank you very much, Azmi. So, basically, the gist of our topic today, which is Panicgogy. If you look at the situation at the moment, well, everybody tries to fit whatever they teach into online teaching. To me, that's going to be a very big problem. Um, Normally, even at my university, for example, we do have online facilities where we use these facilities to teach students, uh, our offshore students or our local students. But we don't normally use it all the time. Maybe perhaps 20 to 30% of our entire lesson will be done online. But imagine today when everybody wants to teach their students um, using technology and trying to fit everything that we want to teach into online teaching. So it's a problem. How do you expect teachers to convert everything that they plan to teach into online teaching? You know, to teach online for 30 or 40% of the content is already a problem. What more to convert everything into online teaching? So this is the basic thing that I think we should understand. Listening to what Boji said just now about having the facilities at home, these are things that we need to consider if we really want to use online teaching and to avoid people getting panic. In fact, um, at the university, for example, in my university, there are things that we have to usually we consider a few things when we want to use technology in teaching. For example, the three basic things that we should look at. The first one is how would student to student interaction take place? You know, students to students interaction. How will it take place? So far, we are talking about interaction between student and teachers and whatnot. But how about student to student interaction through technology? Through online teaching. Number two, what about the interaction between student and the content? So we have student to student interaction, and then we have student to content interaction. And of course, number three, which is very important, is student to teacher interaction. it's very interesting to see how I think in early March, when everybody was talking about we have to use online to teach this, um, as a way to make sure that our life goes on during this COVID-19 period. There are some experts who say that keep it less, meaning let's use
Less the better.
yeah, technology in teaching.
Mm.
Make sure there is interaction, but at a very minimum level. So I think that would also address the issue of facilities, of how many students actually can get access to the content that we want to give them through online or technology. So I still believe, number one, like I said earlier, I still believe that it's very difficult if we want to convert whatever we are doing at the moment in school or in the university into online teaching
Within a short time.
without, yeah, in a very short time, and without actually choosing what should be given them online and what can be given to them in other ways. Maybe remote teaching is a better term, whereby you not only use online, you also use other materials as a way of
Should use
starting.
the term distance learning instead of online learning.
Yeah, distance learning is very commonly heard. Yeah, distance learning, remote learning, those kind of terms could also be used. In this together.
Okay.
So I think that's yeah. That's it. That's what I want to highlight.
It's interesting.
I think that the Prof.
Mm.
Aiza has something to say.
Once Ziraiza mentioned about being online, we can't see the stress that the students may be experiencing at the moment of the online class. If you are in the classroom, you can see the students face to face, right? While when you are online, you can see what is happening on the other. I mean, on the other side, right?
Okay, Dr.
May
Azmi,
I add something, Dr. Azmi?
Yeah. May I know who is speaking?
Okay, basically, Mas Lawati.
Okay, Mas.
Okay, basically when we talk about stress here, we also talk about not just stress between the student and also the content, the stress between the student and also the teacher, and the stress the student have to juggle with the family members. Okay, because for example, like you have like 5 siblings and it's a small house, you have the small kids making noises, and it's not easy for them to concentrate if you have like your siblings playing around you and you don't have anywhere to go. So I just want to contribute to that as well. Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. I think we have Julaila here.
hello.
Yeah.
Hello. Can I say something first?
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah. Yes.
All right. I would like to say thank you to Dr. Maslawati for her earlier comments prior to Dr. Asri's comments, and then I also like to also concur on some of the things that Dr. Asri already mentioned. And while they were talking, I can't help but to consider the art of teaching. I'm talking here on the basis of me as a teacher educator. My concern is that for every single semester or every single year or every single week that we go into a lesson, it is always a learning process for the teacher. Put aside that we have to do things online. Even when we were at school, when we can physically go into class and see our students, every single day that we enter is always a new day. There are always new things that we learn. So what I'm trying to say is that teachers are only teachers when you realize you are always a learner. There's always something for you to learn. There's no perfection. And then when we have this panic attack on COVID-19, the need for ODL, online and distance learning, if we are a true educator, we rise to the occasion. This is the time when we conduct our action research. If we need to depend on our principal or on the ministry or on the faculty management to train us, to give us those exposure, and if that is the only thing that we do, we're not really an educator. Yes, on the side of the management, they can always provide that support, the training, but it is in the heart of every educator that you need to be an action researcher yourself. There need to be you trying new things, need to experiment to see how it goes. Does it work? Is it not working? And what are the things that I need to do? So I need to remind us that every teachers are action researchers. Everyone can say this is what you could do, this is what you should do, but it is your student. You know better what works and what doesn't work. And coming back, sorry, just a few more seconds. Coming back to what Dr. Maslawati mentioned about in a small house with a big family with children of 5, and everybody may have issues with using the internet. So I'm asking the teachers, where are your role as the person who first need to consider your students before you decide on what to teach, what to bring to class, and what to make your students do? Where is your role to consider the learning context? Is this online? Is this face-to-face? What are the challenges my students would feel? So again, sorry, if I may summarize what I was just saying, it's action research. All teachers must have that. And number 2, it's a lot of thinking, consideration that you need to have with regard to the students and their context. This is me responding to what was already been mentioned earlier. Thank you. Back to you, Dr. Azmi.
Fauzi.
And relating to what Prof. Faiza was saying and Dr. Maslawati as well, I think probably the word humanizing e-learning is important for us to ponder. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. We have with us here is Madam Julaila Ju. Julaila Yahya. How are you? Julaila Yahya. Nak dengar apa nama tu official from Julaila Yahya as support. Ju, can you hear me? Ju? Okay. Okay, how about dekat higher learning institution? Perhaps Prof Ismi, would you like to say something? How's the practice in higher learning institution at UPM?
Okay, Assalamualaikum. Very good afternoon. Thank you, Prof. Azmi. Well, actually, back at the higher learning institutions, my research team has just completed a quick survey on 3 universities in terms of the effect of this crisis on the well-being and learning experience of students. And we found out that actually we have to go back to basics, because if you talk about accessing learning, we have to consider the diversity in terms of the situations, locations where the students are in. And we realized that, you know, despite our passion about this online learning, we highly recommend for educators to go back to basics. Go to the most basic where students can really access. And we in fact suggested the use of basic apps like WhatsApp, Facebook, and email, or you know, whatever, or even television. Basically, things that almost all students can access. Because I know lecturers are very excited making use of all these advanced apps, you know, but it will defeat the purpose if not all students can access to what you are trying to impart.
Accessibility.
So accessibility is very important. And then try to make use of the medium that is you know, massive, public, so that everyone can, you know, everyone can access to it. So that's why we realized that actually WhatsApp is a very functional tool for educators to use to communicate and to educate their students. So at the end of the day, it goes back to, yeah, I agree with some of our panelists insight just now, in which it is distant learning that can save us, because this is a situation where we are in. We are not, in terms of coverage, in terms of speed, we are still having challenges. So online learning does not fully help, in terms of providing a very quality kind of
Yeah, education.
opportunity for students to continue learning. So we believe in the basics, go back to distant learning, make use of whatever applications where you think
Everyone has.
almost everybody can access to. Okay, thank you.
The not so up. I mean, not too latest application.
Yes,
Talking
as
about
long as
Webex,
people can
these
access.
are all like
Yeah,
state of the art.
email, WhatsApp, Facebook, because these are the things that our children, our students are very familiar with. So make use of the familiar ones, as long as you can really provide whatever you want to provide them during this crisis.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, apa nama Prof Ismi. We have Dr. Suraya Zaidun, expert in childhood learning. Ah, Zaidun, Dr. Suraya Zaidun. Dr. Suraya Zaidun. Dr. Suzaidun, can you hear me? Dr. Suraya Zaidun. Okay. How about IIUM? Dr. Ainul, what is happening in IIUM now?
Okay. Gives me a very thank you so much, Dr. Ansmi. I think this is a very healthy discussion that we are having on the topic pedagogy, all right, panic, all right, together with. It's interesting when Dr. Prof. Ismi mentioned using what is the most familiar, technology, gadgets, tools, both for the learners as well as the teachers. In our case, at tertiary level, even the lecturers. Yeah. So there is no need to be panic. In fact, I feel the first thing that we should do is stop panicking. All right. Just grab on to whatever that we already know and take this as an opportunity to polish our teaching. I think the lecturers,
Hello.
we have to remind ourselves, okay, that an expert is one thing, yeah, but being an expert who can teach is another important aspect that we should consider. Yeah, so blended learning or distant learning, like what Prof. Ismi mentioned just now, these are important ideas that we should embrace actually. At the university level, we've always been asked to blend together teaching online as well as teaching face to face. So this is the time actually. Take this as an opportunity to polish our teaching. Where I am teaching at the moment at the International Islamic University, we have students from abroad. All right, they sometimes just spend a fraction of their time in our campus and then they're home.
Okay.
So whether or not we like it, we have to embrace technology. We have to have ways how we can reach our students, whether it is in terms of teaching, whether it is in terms of supervision, whether it is in terms of assessment. We have to know how to reach our students. So it's a two-way thing, yeah. Take into consideration also our students' capacity. Do they have what it takes to be online with us? So I think with this circumstance that we are facing right now, the first thing that we need to do is stop panicking. All right, we have to learn to embrace the whole situation.
At the
Look at
moment,
this as an opportunity.
at the moment,
Yes,
how's the
Dr.
practice? How's the practice in IIUM? Are the class still going on, or like you postpone the semester? Or what?
Okay, at the university here, at our campus, the top management has decided to give the students a 10-week mid-semester break, which means there are no lessons going on at the moment. Definitely no online teaching. We are just the lectures are encouraged right now to prepare the materials for the online teaching when we begin or when we resume the second half of the semester on the 1st of June. So there's ample time actually. We already have the content, but what we need to do now is to be able to put them on a platform where our students will be able to, reach or grab the materials together with the lecturers. So there's really no reason to panic. Another thing that I would like to highlight here, what COVID-19 has given us is actually an opportunity to collaborate. Look at what we are doing today. Yeah, all of us are coming from different universities. Some of us are from other countries, but look at how this situation has given us the opportunity. This is an area of potential collaboration, potential future research. So let's grab this opportunity also to keep on sharing our knowledge.
Problems are
Thank you.
opportunities, right?
Yes.
Opportunities to do research, to explore, right? Dr. Fadli, Jack, say something about the practice of this Panicgogy or pedagogy in UiTM, northern part, UiTM Perlis. Jack? Jack?
Thank you, Dr. Azmi.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right.
Now,
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. Okay. When we talk about Panicgogy, well, basically, the landscape of education has changed.
Yeah.
Eventually,
New
we
normal.
talk about
New normal.
But then again, the change is somehow to a certain extent can be good.
Yeah.
Because it creates us to be more dynamic rather than being stereotypical of the kind of teachers or educators for that matter.
Yeah.
But then on that basis, we need to evaluate, okay, what are our roles, for example? What is the teacher's role? The teacher's role change? What about the lecturers? Do they change? Or the students themselves? Does the role changes? Well, although the landscape of education changed, but then again, does these particular rules change? Personally, I think when we talk about this particular thing, we talk about teachers as being content expert. But then again, if we talk about teachers as being content expert, we have, for example, Mr. Google as the content expert.
Okay.
That is why, to a certain extent, for example, if, for example, some teachers or educators, for example, they take this particular material, okay, search through this particular website, and without them communicating to the students how to go about this particular material, then the expert is not them. The experts become the Google.
Okay.
Or we talk about technology. Mr. Google would be the techno expert, for example. So on that basis, we are talking about the landscape has changed to the sense that to a certain extent we may not be relevant anymore. So this is where we need to provide, for example, some final touch, for example, the touch of the magical one for that matter as a teacher. How do we deal about this particular situation? Because for example, if we don't deal with this particular situation, how are we going to remain relevant? Otherwise, we will not be relevant. People can replace us. On that basis, we need to ensure that education remain relevant. We need, for example, like Dr. Fauzi said, humanistic elements in education.
Humanizing.
Otherwise, humanizing education, that matter. Yeah. All right. Now, okay. So on that basis, we have to go teachers, for example, have to look into their fundamentals of teaching. What is their fundamentals of teaching? What is their fundamentals of teaching? Because every educators have developed their own fundamentals of teaching. So how they see their students, for example, what are their roles, for example, what are the roles of the material? How should they approach this and the materials? And like Prof. Aiza said, they need to be able to understand their students, what the students need, what the students are lacking for that matter. Yeah. So go back to the fundamentals, yeah, for that matter. Find their fundamentals of teaching. Yeah? Otherwise, well, because we cannot, for example, if, for example, we cannot replace what the best technique of education would be somehow face to face. But then again, we cannot replace this particular element by providing a second grade of education, because the education has to be remain the same in terms of the grade. If, for example, without the COVID-19, we produce, for example, the levels of education is probably 80%. Now we cannot go below 70%.
Okay.
Just because of the COVID-19. We have to remain certain, the standard has to be there. Okay, that is my take on this. And for your question, in terms of what are the how your ITM addressing this particular thing, and we are starting with our semester after the mid-semester break. This is probably the first week, not actually the first week. This the first week after the start of the MCO. The MCO. All right. Okay, back to you, Dr. Azmi.
Okay, thanks, Jack. Terima kasih banyak. Alright. I really hope to hear from Dr. Suraya Zaidun. Dr. Zaidun, can you hear us? Can you hear me? Nampak online tu?
Yes, hello. Hello.
Hello. Suraya Zaidun, how are you?
Okay, Alhamdulillah. Assalamualaikum. Can you hear me?
Yes. We haven't heard from you for so long. Okay.
Hibernating.
Yeah.
Jiran saya.
Hibernating.
Welcome.
Jiran kita. Okay.
Yeah, Suraya Zaidun,
Okay,
let me introduce you first. Dr. Suraya Zaidun is an expert in childhood education. Dia pakar pembelajaran kanak-kanak, right? So perhaps your take on this issue.
Okay. You see, currently what is happening, the preschoolers are also having all this panic. Okay, it is not the preschoolers actually, but it's the parents. Okay. So to me, talking about just now, Dr. Fadli, Jack was saying something about fundamentals. So I believe that this is the time where we should go back to the fundamentals, developing the children. But I think most of the parents are relying on the teachers 100%. Okay, when it comes to development, the parents should be the first teachers of the children. So they should, in my opinion, they should take this opportunity during the MCO to really get to know their children, at what the level of the children are at, right? Okay, so they should be doing activities with the children. So, and then they would be able to really understand the development of their children and not depend so much on the teachers during this time. But what I can see is that, like my students who are teaching in especially international kiddies, those in international kiddies, they are very bogged down with this online learning. Okay, the teachers are working. I think my students are complaining. They are working 3 times
more.
How should I say? They are more stressed with all this online learning, because they need to prepare. The preparation is not easy when the children are not in front of you.
Yeah.
It's very difficult. You can prepare your materials, yes, but then you do not know the kind of reaction that you'll be facing, right?
Yes.
Okay, so these are the things that really stresses the teachers. And but then again, talking about fundamentals, we are looking when we go to early childhood, we talk about development. Okay, development. So I think that I personally feel that parents especially should take this opportunity to look at their children's development, to observe and to really understand. Okay, and when we say development, we are not talking things that are in the books only. We are talking about the day-to-day things that the children can do. Okay, so it happens in preschool. Okay, it happens, all these panic things happens because of the parents, and it is not because of the children. The children are enjoying themselves, but of course at home now what I can see is that most parents are relying on these gadgets. So this is where the conflict comes in. Okay,
So
anything
meaning
else?
the parents should take the opportunity to like macam take over lah the role of the teachers with the children now at home.
Yes, yeah. Educating the children doesn't only mean things that are outlined in the curriculum, things that are in the syllabus. You see, it's every day, the thing every day that we are having at the home. These are learning opportunities that the teachers, the parents, sorry, the parents should take up and do it with their children.
Instead of daily dengar orang godak sambal tu. Can you please mute the
I cannot hear you.
Suraya.
Yes.
So instead of
Yeah.
instead of delegating the responsibility to the teachers, they should instead take the opportunity to to educate their children at home, right?
Yes.
This is to foster the relationship between the parents and
the bonding and all, right? I mean, every day parents keep telling us they are busy, we are with work and all. So this is a time. This is a time, to learn. I mean, to really observe their children, to really understand the children. I mean, I would kill, for this kind of time when my children were still were very small last time. Last time we don't have all this MCO, and then we are busy running here and there. Okay, and now that all of them are in front of us, now we can see and observe and say, oh, now only I know my first son is like this, my second son is like this. When you see them 24/7, they are in front of you. So when children at that age, at six and below, they are developing. There's so many things that are happening to them. So parents should take up this opportunity.
And also to be empathy with the with the teachers, the problems that the teachers
definitely. You see, I have teachers who have online classes with the children, from 8 until 10, and then they break 11 o'clock. They are forced to go into meetings with fellow teachers, with the school admin. So you see how tiring, how stressful my teachers are.
Okay, thank you very much, Sue.
Okay.
Right. Thank you for your insight. Okay, okay, we have come to the last part of the chat. Yeah, all right. We'd like to hear from you.
Azmi?
Yeah.
Dr. Azmi?
Yeah.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
Is it possible if we invite Zoe from China and Johari from Indonesia to give us some insights on what are the practices in their own country?
Okay. Zoe, are you there? Hello, Zoe.
How about Johari?
Johari from Indonesia. Hi, Joe. Johari, are you there?
They are here, but they are not communicating.
Takut supervisor di situ.
It's okay.
They can actually use the chat if they cannot verbalize their thoughts. They can use the chat.
I'm actually looking for the chairman of the Dean's Council, the Language Dean's Council, who was here just now. I don't see Dr. Zailin anymore. I hope to hear from her. The pengurusi Majlis Dekan-Dekan Bahasa, he was here just now. Anyway.
How about if we invite Akmal?
Akmal Jais.
She's from the ministry, yes.
Akmal Jais. Akmal.
What you want me to what you want me to talk about?
Yeah, Cik Kamal, how are you?
Alhamdulillah.
Busy cooking, eh?
Okay. What you want me to talk about?
As someone from the
Video tak nampak muka.
Pak muka sikit.
tak boleh speak. Tak boleh tengok muka.
Cik Kamal. Akmal.
Ya.
Nak tahu what is happening at the ministry level in you know, facing this this crisis.
Okay. In the ministry's level, actually we have come up with a garis panduan on how to conduct teaching and learning during PKP. So we suggest to the teachers they can use either online learning or the conventional strategy. That is, they can give instructions through WhatsApp, through text through SMS, asking the students to use their textbook, regular activities books, or come up with a project with the parents.
Okay.
So that is basically what the ministry is doing lah. So we come up with a kenyataan media, telling what they are supposed to do, and also guidelines.
Okay.
And currently, my team and I, we are working on the garis panduan pengurusan sekolah pasca PKP.
Okay.
So this one is really tough. Yes, because after PKP, we are not still clean, we are not still clear. I mean, virus is still there, but we are allowed to go out. So yang ini memang susah.
How Akmal, how soon do you think the school should restart?
No, actually school should resume now. Yeah. Tak pergi sekolah pun, the learning section tu should resume now.
Okay.
So teachers are given flexibility to choose what kind of medium that they should presume their lesson. Jadi mana yang advanced with the family yang can afford the technologies, so they can use all the modern technologies. Ya. Siapakah yang bising itu? Okay, tapi sorry, my children. So actually teachers are not, they don't have to use ikut timetable tau, because I know certain schools they use the daily timetable that make the students and the teachers do online according to the daily timetable, which is troublesome lah.
Stressful lah.
You just imagine. Yeah. You just imagine if the family have 4 kids, 2 sekolah menengah, 2 sekolah rendah, and all the teachers those assign students to have online classes during school hours kat rumah. So I don't think all parents can afford 4 anak ada the gadget kan. So the guideline says the teacher can conduct the lesson as flexible as possible.
Cik Kamal, Akmal, I recently dapat satu audio about one father complaining to a teacher. Dia kata too much of homework given to the child. Dia kata kalau anak dia dikenakan tindakan, dia akan bertindak pada cikgu. What do you think of that? Yeah.
That's why kata dalam guidelines tu guru diberi flexibility untuk melaksanakan PDP. So tak adalah kita, I mean the guidelines doesn't say that teachers might use technology. They can use the conventional tech strategies. Depends on the readiness and the capability of the family to produce dia punya learning foundation.
Yeah. Yeah. So back to basic as Prof Ismi just now mentioned. It's about the accessibility. How the tool that should be accessible by like almost everyone. Right?
Betul, itu dasar kerajaan kan.
Instead of being ambitious, pakai Zoom lah, Webex and so on, whereas cikgu sendiri and then student pun tak boleh nak access, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
Thanks.
So the guidelines itself, kalau you guys dapat access to the guidelines, pergi website KPM, the guidelines is clearly stated that memang kena guna yang termampu oleh murid dan keluarga.
Okay. So it's available, yeah? The guide is really available.
Yeah, available. You just go to the website.
I recently the Minister of Education kata nak gunakan TV pendidikan. Is the TV pendidikan tu is it?
Yeah, it's on.
It's on.
It's on
How
every day on apa TV tu, I dah lupa dah TV apa nama dia, but dia RTM punya channel 9 to 10 and 4 to 5 every day.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Kumar.
Keutamaan kepada exam 5.
So TV ni memang one of the media which is accessible by everyone who has television, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Kumar. Thanks very much for your insight.
Okay.
Okay. Now we are now in the last part of the discussion. All right. The way forward. What should happen in future? How should we cope? In case this situation reappear in future. So we have with us online is Dr. Zaili Shah of UTHM. We're also the chairperson or chairman of the Language Dean Council, Kak Lin. Oh, Kak Lin.
Okay, Assalamualaikum.
Hello, Kak Lin, welcome. Welcome on board. We are glad to have you here.
All right. I thought it was like I'm just here as a bystander actually. Tapi tak apalah. All right. Moving forward, I don't know. I'm looking at them from the point of view from management, okay? Because I've been dealing with the students and what the group of deans decide in terms of what's the best for the students, what mode to use and things like that. So that's why we came up for UTHM we have 2 phases, which is pre-distance learning and then the actual distance learning. So coming up from that, within 1 week of just distance learning, students who at first wanted to do online, some of them have sort of like changed their outlook in terms of whether this is effective or not. Will they be able to pass their exams? Are the assessments valid? Those questions come up with them. So I cannot imagine if it's the sustainability within five weeks that we are going to do distance learning or even more. Because now I think in terms of language learning, it's quite it's easier to do it online because we are quite we are quite exposed to it. But from my observation of with the engineering deans and all that, I find that they are always worried about things like practical lab, things like that. How are you going to assess that? Yes, not everything can be done online, and not everyone know how to do it online. When you talk about, okay, language, we do continuous assessment. For them, sometimes it's like something totally it's totally out there. So one, for me, the way forward is continuous training of how to assess, how to teach. It's well and good that we have all these online applications. Every day we get from the MIPTA, if you are on the MIPTA online resources, every day there's a new application, excited to use. But you must understand, like one of the panelists said just now, that and content. The interaction between student and content is the most important. And how are you going to how are you going to assess the learning? All right. And then the second thing that I find is the sustainability of motivation. I think this is the most important. Okay. From what I observed from these 2 weeks, the students could just go from yes, we are all in it to maybe not. And then by the end of the 7 weeks, maybe it's like totally we have lost all our students. So how to go about that sustainability of motivation? So as teachers, it's well and good. You say, okay, you have to do this and it. But as teachers, the human touch must be there. Get in touch with them, make sure they are there and everything like that. For me, some people will say it's easy because I only have one class. But for people with 250 students, 300 is tough. But whether we like it or not, that is the way that we have to go if we want to go forward. Or else this whole year, this whole semester will be gone just like that. So for me, two things. Just do what you're good at and find out if your students can
And cope with that.
learn from that. Yeah, can cope from that, and always have that, get them to be motivated and things like that. At first, the first week is interesting online, but I can see like my son who's doing SPM, he's worried that he's not learning. So yeah,
Yeah, because
it's different.
we are used to attending classes, seeing our teachers,
Yes,
etc.
yes, yes.
This is a whole new thing.
So we yeah, you have to do, don't keep giving them surveys. They hate doing surveys. Like in UTHM, students don't want to do surveys anymore. But each lecturer, each teacher must actually be in touch with their students and actually check, like a thermometer. Okay, they don't have COVID, but they have COVID-19 teaching and learning fever, maybe flu from that, from too much sitting in front of the computer and trying to digest what. Yeah. So that will, the Panicgogy is not Panicgogy. I think the students are also panicking. So I think, basic and sustainability of motivation. That's the way forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Kalin. Thank you very much. Okay, for your information, Dr. Zailin is the Dean of Center for Language Studies in UTHM, right? And also the chairman of the Language Lead Council, Malaysia. Okay, Prof. Aiza, would you like to give your insight on this way forward? What should we do?
Okay, thank you, Dr. Haji Azmi, and thank you, Dr. Zailin. Very insightful opinions from you, and I concur. And as we are moving towards the end of our webinar or forum, let's sort of like highlight some of the issues that I have actually observed from our conversation in the last few hours, in the last 1.5 hours. And what I noticed is that we tend to forget to mention about student empowerment and training our students directed learning approach in their own journey of learning. And at that point of time also I'm recalling what we know about PCK, the pedagogical content knowledge, and then the PCK, which is the technology pedagogical content knowledge. And I like also to remind everybody, especially myself, when we talk about technology, it's not necessarily the Internet of Things are technology. It's not necessarily using WhatsApp and Telegram are technology. It's actually how you improvise your approach so that it becomes deliverable and that the students can make sense and take on from there. So I was just thinking about what about those in the most ruralist, if there is such a word, most ruralist, the ruralist, like not even the internet, but then it takes the whole village to train a child, right, to teach a child. So somebody talk about parenting and how parents are playing an important role, but I'm also looking at the teacher in the community, in that village. If there is no internet, and then we've got some deliveries here and there, right? So probably simple exercises the teacher could just like what the NGOs are doing now, dropping it in front of the door and then just leave, just like what we saw in the Facebook recently, where there was one teacher from the UK handing out students dinner packs, and he actually walked some 4 or 5 kilometers around the village to ensure the student, each and every single of his students received the pack. So I'm considering the pack as the learning pack for students with no access.
Yeah.
And I agree, in a small family, 4 or 5 kids, everybody needs to use the internet or to watch the TV and then to do the exercises, monitoring. And here is when I suggest that let's empower our children. Probably this is the time that we need to teach them responsibility. They are responsible for their own learning. And the word people mentioning about monitoring is like, let's not monitor like what we were once monitored by our teachers.
Okay.
Instead, let's scaffold, let's facilitate, let's what do you call that? Give them the motivation. So how do we do that? Interaction. Somebody, Dr. Asri spoke of interaction, the three channels of interaction: interaction with the student, interaction with the content, interaction with the student. And here, let's not forget, interaction is not just via verbal, it's also via written, it's also via, be creative in what you mean by interacting with your students and interacting with the content. And I am sorry, just one more thing I need to mention. I'm sure you guys have heard of the word chunking. Yes, you cannot teach online the way you have taught in the past during the face-to-face, where you can have 1 hour lecture or 30 minutes or 45 minutes lesson during at school. You cannot assume when you come in, you've got that set induction, you've got the development, and then you've got the closure, and then that's the end of your class, whether it's a 45 minutes class or it's a 1 hour lecture. But the thing with distant learning, which is actually safer to say rather than online learning because not everybody has access to the internet, is to chunk information and then to encourage the development of that information for students to be able to apply. So what do? Chunk the information, comes scaffolding through relevant activities, which actually you include interaction, not necessarily verbal interaction, written interaction, and feedback. We have actually forgotten to mention about feedback, teacher feedback. How do you provide appreciation of your students' work, the feedback? So feedback in terms of, emoticons, feedback in terms of praises, feedback in terms of stars. Wallahu alam, I leave it to the creativity of the teachers. So the students need to see that their teachers are excited with what they are doing. And the push from the teacher can actually make that technology. That's the technology that I'm talking about here. I'm referring back to the TPCK, technology, pedagogical content knowledge. Technology, not necessarily the Internet of Things, not necessarily the educational tools platform. Technology goes back to your creativity on how to reach out to your students and how to motivate your students and how to make your students feel they are empowered and given the responsibility. That's my way forward. Inshallah, Dr. Azmi, back to you.
Okay, Prof. Ismi of UPM, would you like to say a thing about this, the way forward?
Okay, thank you very much, Prof. Azmi, I agree with what the panelists, Prof. Ija and the gang mentioned about, how do we define technology? I believe that when we initiated this forum on Panicgogy, taking from the Latin word of gogos, we are trying to lead learners, through the straight path. So basically, I would say that Panicgogy is very much about how to lead teachers and learners to go through this crisis, not to be panicky, so on and so forth. So actually, we justify ourselves, with coming out with this term, Panicgogy. Again, when you talk about humanizing, it goes back to educating. In whatever situation we are talking about educating, technology is just a tool. And if I would like to quote what we referred to Sheikh Afifi Al-Akiti once about the use of technology in education. So his take was, technology is just a tool, it's just a side course of the main course. The main course is we want to educate everyone on how to take the food, eat it with high etiquette. So if we want to make use of the side dish and the tool, that will be bonus. At the end of the day, it goes back to basic. We must make sure that accessibility to education, and education here, we did discuss about facilitating, we did discuss about communicating and whatnot. This is why teacher can never be replaced by technology. Because we have to remember that in education, we are not trying to nurture a sandwich eater. They can just choose whatever sandwich they want to eat.
That's very interesting.
They have to be guided in choosing which is the best sandwich to make sure that they can stay healthy as human being. So I always believe that technology is there as enablers. We are very much talking about technology enhanced talaki. You know, the talaki actually is the main focus,
Yeah.
the interaction between educators and learners. This will make sure that at the end of the day, everyone will be on the straight path. So again, remember, Panicgogy is not about technology. Panicgogy is about leading everyone to go through this crisis positively. Thank you.
So the teachers, ourselves, should not be panicked with this, right? Otherwise,
Both teachers and learners,
yeah,
inshallah.
yeah. I mean, in the first place, the teacher should not be panicked. Otherwise, the learner will be panicked as well. All right. Okay. Before I end the session, is there anything else? And anyone else would like to add? Moving forward, what we should.
Tasmi,
Yeah.
Tasmi, can I?
Yes.
Okay. Can we all agree that we are not just teachers? We are more than teachers. We don't just teach. We are actually designers. We are the learning designers of our students. And for that reason, no one machine, no technology, whatever internet technology or the 21st century technology, we're not talking about the dinosaurs time technology, can ever take the place of an educator. It's how you design, because learning is a journey. Learning is a process. And there's always scaffolding, facilitating, observation, imitating, learning from the others, learning from our students, teachers learning from the students, learning from the teacher. So how do you design that experience? How do you design that journey for your students? So
I
if we
agree.
have in our heart, that we are designers, we are educators, we don't just teach.
So
That's my
therefore, Ija,
that,
therefore, we teachers, we should be actively play our role in designing how the lesson should go about, rather than just leave this thing to the technology to do it for us, right?
Yeah, basically we are learning collaborators. The learning actually is a collection of wisdoms between educators and learners. We support one another. So that is what, co-curating, collaborative learning, so on and so forth. Thank you.
That's why we always say learning is always a joint process. It's never a teacher owning the knowledge, because teacher needs to learn from students also.
I'm interested reading this message chat from Akmal Jaiz, who says that Ija was mentioning about teachers in the UK who are disseminating food, and then she mentioned that there are teachers in Sabah and Sarawak who are doing that. I mean, giving away notes and lesson kit, learning kits to the children. Yeah, may Allah bless them for doing that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Allah, I mean that is technology.
Yeah.
That is technology in the rural place in Sabah and Sarawak.
It
works.
The teachers are the technology.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, I think I will end the discussion, our chat now. All right. Alhamdulillah, we have had a very fruitful discussion. Only that in the beginning, this is the first time that we're having it with the public, but in the beginning we have some hiccups with the technology. All right, background noises and so on. All right, and okay,
I think Prof Azmi, maybe you would like to thank our colleagues from abroad who join us, in this webinar.
Yeah, we have international audience from China and from Indonesia, as well as from Thailand. Thank you for participating. All right. Thank you for giving your opinion, whether in spoken or in written form. All right. Hope that you can join us again in the future. Thank you to all the panelists. All right. Thank you for everyone who has given your opinion here. All right. Inshallah, we really hope that we can overcome this situation. Teaching and learning will go on as usual, as soon as possible. Harap this COVID situation will end soon lah. Okay.
Inshallah, there's always a blessing in disguise.
Inshallah.
Thank you very much,
Ada
everyone.
hikmah di atas segala kesusahan ni, ada hikmah inshallah. Okay.
Inshallah.
Okay, saya bagi pihak pula, saya minta maaf lah atas kelemahan saya. Ada yang tegur saya banyak kali ulang angguk-angguk kepala tadi, ada yang mata tak fokus kat kamera. Thank you for the comment. Alright, inshallah improve in the future. Okay, for information, this meeting is recorded. All right, so therefore I'll try to make it available for you all, so that we can always watch back this discussion, insyaAllah. Okay, itu saja. Sekian saja daripada saya. Kita jumpa lagi insyaAllah di masa akan datang. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Stay
Waalaikumsalam.
safe, stay at home.